Always an interesting guy. Coaching, he's over at Grambling State now, former NFL head coach, and he's with us here on the Fan. Tiki and Tiereny. Coach, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing today?
Great
Awesome.
to join us again, and appreciate you hopping on with all this craziness floating around. And I mean, you're the perfect person to ask, I guess, the multiple questions around this Brian Flores lawsuit, Coach. But we'll start with the more incendiary one, because we know about the Rooney Rule and its limitations, etc. The taking money to throw football games. First of all, you said that you were offered, but more importantly, how widespread is that in the NFL?
Well, I don't know that it's widespread. I don't know that a lot of people do that. I think people have to have a plan and a strategy to do these type of things because there's something else that they're after. You know, I don't think it's just something that everybody does. I think it's obviously for gain for their team, but I don't think it's something that everybody does.
Yeah, and so when you talked about, or at least you alluded to the fact that the Browns were incentivizing you to lose games in the 2016 season, what was that? What did it look like? Tell us exactly what's happening.
Yeah, I want to make sure I have people understand because everybody took the Twitter feed and just kind of ran with it.
Of course,
it's different than what Brian explained. Nobody offered me money and said, Hugh, you guys need to go lose games, because no coach is going to ever do that. That's a reason to quit right away, right?
Yeah, of course.
Because you just don't do that. But what was constructed was a 4-year plan that was put in place that I really didn't understand, until I was really deep into it and understanding how this plan worked, where you have a plan that says a lot of different categories where you get paid a certain percentage of money as a group based on how you perform. For instance, if you have the most draft picks, well, you have to have a high number of draft picks. If your team was the youngest, the aggregate rankings of your team being in the bottom half of a particular category, all those particular things would add up to a certain amount for a group of people. And so I didn't understand it, and I tried to make it known. I've let it be known to Jimmy and several who were involved that, hey, look, I don't understand this. Because to coaches, we understand one thing, and it's winning and losing.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we know. Now, if you tell us that there's a country club membership, there's a car, you get those perks, those things you understand. But all these other things that I'm mentioning, I never truly understood. And this was not presented to me until I was there for a month and a half. And a bonus structure in a bonus structure way. And it was not put together until that summer, which was June.
Okay.
So when I looked at this, I'm like, I'm a football coach. I'm finna go win football games. That's all I'm concerned about. And so you start to move forward. You hear that this is what we're doing, and then you go through the season, and then you look up and there's this, money in your account. And you go, well, what is this for? Now I'm just being very, very transparent here. When you won at 15, you don't expect to see any money other than money that you make. There shouldn't be a bonus that you get.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get a bonus for being 1 in 15.
Well, but by the way, Coach, Hugh, this is where you and I are different. When there's money in my account and I don't know where it's from, I don't ask questions.
Well, I do.
That's because you were making good money.
All right, I got a few serious ones for Hugh. I got a few serious ones for you. So to Hugh Jackson. All right, so we get the difference between what Flores is alleging versus what you encountered. I got that.
Mm-hmm.
So the bonuses, though, that you guys were offered organizationally, most draft picks, all right, I can understand that. The age, okay, we're skewing youthfully. I get that. But when the third thing that you said, a bonus for finishing, in essence, and these are my words, not yours, poorly in certain statistical categories, to me, that is a direct, I don't know, go suck. I don't know how else to, you're going to be young, that's fine. We're going to accrue draft picks, cool. But, if you're getting money for being the 29th best rushing offense, I mean, that's pathetic. So my question is this. Why wouldn't you, and you stand up and talk about a lot, Brian Flores is a man of conviction. Why would you guys wait years to bring this to light? Why not say something then?
Well, here's the deal. I did say something then. That's what I'm saying. That's what I just said earlier.
No, but publicly.
I did. Well, how can you say something publicly? You're trying to be collaborative and understand this. I mean, couldn't you lose your job in that situation? to
Yes,
say something.
yes.
Yeah, so
You
to
could.
say something, yeah, you could. So I think what I wanted to do is understand it and really make sure that I knew what this was. And
Yeah.
I could not really truly understand it until I got through the first year and understood that there were so many players being taken off the team. Because the other thing that was a part of this, it never talked about winning until year 3 and 4.
Gotcha. So the plan was to be not below, significantly below average, so you could build a better team and then ultimately start pushing towards winning. And
Yeah.
But go ahead.
But you got to back up on that because that's never told to me.
Yeah.
Because what coach is going to take a job where you don't win and you don't have a chance of winning? You can never survive that.
Yeah.
So you guys had heard all the tanking things said about the Browns and us taking all the talent off the team, but at the end of the day, I mean, those things were right in line with what we're talking about. So I'm saying the 4-year plan was right in line with that I had no idea about until after I had been there, and now I'm in it.
Well, Hugh, answer me this, because I think so David Culley gets hired last year, and David, as everybody does. He's been around forever. He's a great, great man. He gets hired in Houston, and the way you hear it talked about now, it's like he was hired to fail. Right, you know what I mean, and it's a shame because he'd waited forever for any kind of opportunity. He gets it. The Houston Texans are a disaster, and they move on from him after a year, despite them winning some games that I think they thought they had any business winning. Did you feel in retrospect, not in real time, because you just said you didn't understand it, but in retrospect, that you were hired to fail, you know what I mean, and just be the minority token coach who was just going to take this team to nowhere? You know what I mean?
Well, there's no question. I mean, when you look at it, that's the only way you can describe it, because I came there to win. You can go look at my press conference. I came there to turn the organization around, to get the organization moving in the right direction, do what we had to do, and now you take all of the players off the team that was a 3-13 team. And it's like you're starting over.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't say you're going to win. And then you suck, basically, as everybody says. You're 1-31 for 2 years, but yet you get a contract extension, and nobody hears about that.
Yeah.
Nobody is told that in the media. How do you give a coach who's 1-31 a contract extension? You don't do that normally.
Yeah. Well, we're talking to Hugh Jackson, former Raiders head coach, who did a good job with the Raiders. The Browns, a couple of years, and the Browns, were a complete disaster at that point. We get that. He's with Grambling State now. But, Coach, I've got to make a real obvious distinction that I feel like, respectfully, you might be glossing over, at least compared to somebody like Culley, who was an obvious sacrificial lamb. And I'm just saying this because it's public record. By no means am I trying to come at you sideways. But you got an extension. You were 3-36-1 with the Cleveland Browns. And I will say clearly, they failed you more than you failed them. I get that, man. But I don't see how you can say that you were treated unfairly by the Browns when they gave you more time than you probably deserved based on the record.
No, I think I can.
Okay.
Because I went there as a coach of the year. You're talking about time. The time was always placating and we're going to fix this and get this right. Well, I never asked for that anyway. So basically you misled me from the beginning. You never did what you said you were going to do. That's why people take jobs. So you say you kept me and you kept telling me you're going to fix this and we're going to move on from this, whatever this was, and get it better. And then you don't.
Yeah.
The whole time. That's very misleading.
Yeah.
But it's still different from Culley's situation is what I'm saying.
But I'm not talking. I can't compare myself to Culley. I can't. I'm not. Just like I don't really compare. There's similarities, I think, to all of these. The one common denominator, as you keep bringing up, is we're all black men.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, do we know examples off the top of my head where this has happened with a white coach? I guess maybe the Jets in a sense.
What, with Gase?
With Gase.
He got 2 years, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he got 2 years. I mean, there's not many. I mean, nobody's trying to say that it's fair. I'm not saying that.
So, Hugh, amongst the black fraternity of head coaches in the NFL, I know you guys all know each other because it's really a small group. Do you guys talk about these things? Like, do you talk about the plight of the minority coach in the league?
Oh, we do now, because it's so obvious. There's only one minority head coach in the league today. I mean, it's really gone backwards. And why? And I think there's so many minority coaches that really don't get a fair chance. I mean, they're not in those situations. You are in these situations that we're talking about today, where it feels like you were put in a situation where you were set up to fail.
Yeah. And I wonder, Hugh, has there ever been because mentorship is so important in every business, but particularly in the NFL, because you know how this works. It's like you get these baby geniuses, the Sean McVays of the world. And this isn't a knock on them at all, but it's almost almost like that whole little fraternity of coaches who were together in Washington. They're all now head coaches in the NFL, and they've kind of helped and elevated each other. Have you guys ever thought about that? This you guys as black coaches to mentor some of these other minorities and create something more tangible than what the Rooney Rule is trying to provide?
Oh, absolutely. There's no question that we have. And I think we've done a better job of trying to do it and do it and giving everybody a better opportunity to understand what the pitfalls are that are out there.
Yeah.
So that we can help each other that way. And obviously Marvin Lewis was my mentor through it. But at the end of the day, there's only so many things that they can keep you from.
Yeah.
Especially if people are misleading you. That's hard.
So we're talking to Hugh Jackson. Hugh, the way you described the Brown situation, obviously, nobody who loves the sport of football is going to love what you said. I mean, we believe you, but nobody wants to hear this about incentive for basically, being a doormat. We get that. But while it seems to be different from what Flores alleges with the Dolphins, I do want to ask you this, and I'm on the record, so I'll tell you exactly where I stand. If Stephen Ross is proven to have offered, whether it's 100,000 or 50, whatever the number is, to Flores to directly lose, then I believe he needs to lose his franchise. What do you think about that?
Oh, no question. No doubt. I think any of these situations where coaches have been put in situations to do things illegally against the shield, that those people should lose the right to have their teams.
Yep. Yeah, they have to. I mean, because the one thing now, as fans, we can't control who our GM drafts or, what our coach does on 4th and 1 from, midfield, if he goes for it or if he punts. We can't control those things. What we hope is given to us is an authentic result. And if that's compromised, then people need to get booted. And I have to ask you this. I didn't even remember this, to be quite frank, Hugh. So we got a bunch of tweets, and somebody pointed this out. Now, this would have been your first year. Mm-hmm. It was a game against the Dolphins. It was week 3. It was an overtime game. And and this is, you're not alone, because this happened with Marty Morningweg in, I want to say, 2002 with the Lions. Belichick did this against the Jets once, and I think Decker scored a game-winning touchdown. So, but based on what you told us about the incentive, I've got to ask you. Week 3, you go to overtime with Miami. You win the coin toss, all right? And you defer. Again, not unprecedented, but if they score a touchdown, you lose the game. Mm-hmm. Was there any awareness or any fuel behind that decision based on?
No.
Okay, I'm just none.
No.
None at all.
None at all. No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Just asking. I had to ask you that.
Yeah.
I don't remember it, but we got a bunch of tweets, and then I went and I looked up the box score. I'm like, yeah, it was week 3. Yeah, Cody Kessler was the quarterback. RG3 got hurt. Somebody else got hurt. I forget who it was. And
Cody was starting.
Yeah.
Cody was starting. Remember we had a kicker that flew in the day of the game.
Yeah.
So that's where, and we missed 4 field goals in that game.
Yeah.
We should have won the game.
Gotcha. All right, just wanted to ask.
Hey, Hugh, this Brian Flores lawsuit, it's significant. And if people join the class, other coaches and general managers, other executives join the class, it could get really dicey for the National Football League. So this is a 2-part question. 1, are you joining this class? And then 2, and I think maybe more importantly, where do you see this going? What impact do you see this lawsuit having on how the NFL goes about its business as it pertains to hiring minorities?
Well, to answer your first question, I don't know. Obviously, what's going to happen as far as the class action lawsuit, but as it moves forward, I'll find out more information about it.
Are you getting lobbied? Are you getting lobbied to join the class at all?
No, I have not been lobbied to do anything. And then the second question is, where is this going? I think hopefully it's where the transparency has to be real from the National Football League to everybody involved. That the things that are really happening, that we really have real time investigations and find out exactly what has gone on. so that we don't have these same things keep cropping back up.
Yeah.
I mean, this is unfortunate that we're putting people's careers at stake. You know, and I get so disappointed when people say, I mean, just hearing you guys say, well, it's not the same. It's a little different. Look, wrong is wrong. I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
And if it's wrong and it's against the shield and it's things you shouldn't be doing, then it is wrong.
Yeah.
Listen, there's no doubt, Hugh, that wrong is wrong, but you'll certainly admit there's a difference between jaywalking and driving drunk. And
well,
I'm not saying that these are the two comparisons.
That's true. But at the end of the day, both are wrong.
Yes, but there's varying degrees of wrong. That's all I'm pointing out.
Oh, no doubt.
That's all I'm saying.
There's definitely degrees, but
yeah.
Okay,
I got you. You know, Hugh, when you interviewed for the Browns, and I know it was a little different back then, and you were already with the Raiders, and I know that there's more of a push to have minorities in the room during the interviewing process. Was there any minority representation when you were actually being interviewed for the Browns job?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think that that's are you satisfied? Is that a common enough practice that at least that hurdle's been hopped over at this point?
I think that hurdle's been hopped over, but I just think you look at, I know my situation, and I can't speak for Brian, but those things look similar, right? I mean, the GM is a minority, the head coach is a minority in both of those situations. So there's some things that are similar. There's some things that are not. I think everybody does it a little bit different. So I don't think that has been the issue. Mm-hmm. I think the issue has been just what the expectation is and what is being done within those organizations. And I think it's upper management and the decisions that they make.
Yeah. Oh, you know, I have one more thing for you. That's Hugh Jackson, former Raiders coach and the Browns head coach as well. He's with Grambling State now. He's with us here on the Fan, Tiki and Tierney. And this is just a guess, conjecture on your part, but I'm curious how you would answer this. Can you envision a situation, because apparently, not surprisingly, he's a good coach, that Flores just knocked it out of the park with the Saints. Can you envision a situation, Hugh, where he's offered the job and he accepts it and he simultaneously has a lawsuit against the NFL? Or do you think he would have to rescind that to be the coach of the Saints or somebody else?
I think that's a hard question for me to answer, because I think that's a tough situation, one for the league and a tough situation for the Saints.
Yeah,
you know, because you don't know which way that can go. So I wouldn't have the answer to that.
Yeah. What do you think it would be tough for Brian Flores? You know what I mean? To do his job and then obviously be focused on suing. It's dicey.
Al Davis had it back in the day.
Yeah, but not unprecedented. You're right, because of Al Davis.
Right. You just said it's dicey, but I mean, there's people that can really compartmentalize things and get it done.
Yeah.
You know, and coaches are those kind of guys.
All right. Hugh,
appreciate you, man.
Thanks, man.
You got it.
Thanks.
All right, man.
There you go. Hugh Jackson, former head coach of the NFL. He's at the college game now.